Welcome to Wisdom Education Services. This video is copyright. In this video, we will discuss the first part of AWA, which is Analytical Writing Assessment, and this forms a major part of the Wisdom GMAT Self-Prep program. This is week 1 of AWA. These are the topics that we will be covering in this video: the scope and importance of AWA in the GMAT, the scoring guide and the rubric, the directions to the essay, and the format that you can follow to write the essay. So let's go ahead and get started with it. First of all, scope of AWA. Now, as you must be knowing, it is the first section of GMAT. It goes on for 30 minutes and it is totally essay based. So you need a good typing speed, as you have to type the essay onto the computer and you will not be getting any paper, pencil or pen. You can use 10 minutes for planning and for revising at the end. So 5 minutes for planning and 5 minutes for checking your essay, and the remaining 20 minutes for typing. The word limit is not specified, but ideally it should be from 350 to 450 words. So you need to have a very good typing speed. And there is no software that will be provided to you to check your spellings or punctuation errors, so you need to check that yourself. Only the following options will be available for you: cut, copy, paste, undo and redo. Nothing else would be available to you. You have to check everything yourself. The essay will be scored by 2 individual readers and they will give you a score out of 6 each, and then the average will be taken and that would be your AWA score out of 6. You will be given an argument and you have to critically evaluate it using reasoning and analysis. So you do not have to use any personal examples or external knowledge. You just have to evaluate the argument critically. So that is why it is known as analysis of an argument. Now, what should be your test taking strategy? First of all, you need to read the question carefully at least 2 or 3 times. This is the minimum number of times you need to read the question, because unless you don't read the topic, the argument, you will not be able to critically evaluate it. And whenever you practice, try not to underline anything on the practice paper, because in the exam you will have a computer screen. So try not to use the pencil or the pen much. Okay, so you need to read the question very carefully. And then don't start writing immediately. You need to give some time to plan out the outline of your essay, the different points, the order in which those points will appear, like what will come in the first paragraph, in the second paragraph, in the third paragraph, what points do you have to add in the conclusion and the introduction, and so on. So don't start writing immediately. Wait for at least 3 to 4 minutes and then start your typing. And you need to plan out the introduction and content beforehand. Now this is a very important and basic rule. As I told you, don't start writing immediately. You need to plan out everything. You can plan out on the erasable notepad that you will get, or you can even plan out by typing the points on the computer screen. And you need to focus on analyzing and critiquing a line of thinking or reasoning. Now, even if you agree with what the argument is saying, you always have to analyze it critically. That means you have to, let's say, disagree, or you have to go against it. You have to find flaws and different fallacies in the reasoning that has been presented in the argument. And you need to segregate your points into 2 or 3 groups, and then each group will be formed into a proper paragraph. So you will have 2 or 3 main points and a lot of simple small points. So you have to club them together and divide all the points into 2 or 3 groups, and then you have to turn each group into a full-fledged paragraph. The paragraph can be of around 100 words, so 200 or 300 words can easily be covered in the body of the essay. That is the main points. And you need to discuss the alternatives and suggestions, like what do you suggest should be done in the argument to make it more stronger, or what extra information should be provided so that the argument becomes more stronger, more valid, more logical. So all this needs to be done at the end, that is in the conclusion paragraph. And this is very important: revise and recheck for errors, because most of the errors that you will find, they will be the ones that you can easily eliminate. So I would say those will be just silly mistakes, so you must revise and recheck because each error counts. Just a few minor errors can be ignored, but if you repetitively keep on making spelling mistakes, or leave out few alphabets, or start the sentence with a small letter, or start writing words with capital letters in the middle of a sentence, all these little things, punctuation and usage of tenses, all these things, they matter a lot. So you need to revise and recheck. So try to keep the last 5 minutes for revising and rechecking your essay, and finish before time ends. Now when your 30 minutes will get over, you won't get any extra time, so it should be good if you finish the essay at least 5 minutes before the 30 minutes time ends. Otherwise your essay would be incomplete and you will not even have any time to revise and recheck. So whenever you practice, you should practice keeping in mind just 25 minutes, not the entire 30 minutes. And that is how you can practice in a good way. And make sure your response reads like a narrative, as if you are telling something to the reader. You're not writing it like an autobiography, or you're not describing something, but you are narrating it, so it should read like a narrative. But you should not use words like you and I. However, it should still read properly, as if you're reading out to someone. Now here is a look at the scoring guide, how the scoring is done. Now there will be 2 readers who will score your essay and give you a score out of 6 each. And then the average of the 2 scores will be taken, and that would be your final score of AWA. Now evaluators are professional essay raters, including college and university faculty members from various subject areas, including but not limited to management education. And the readers who will score your essay, they are sensitive towards responses of non-native speakers of English, but that does not mean that you can make a lot of grammar mistakes, tense mistakes, pronoun mistakes. You still need to follow the conventions of standard English. And there is a computer program also that scores your essay. So a good thing is to use a lot of transitional words like firstly, secondly, thirdly, or words like but, although, still, while. So these conjunctions and transitional words will make it very easy for the computer to understand your essay. Now here is the scoring guide for getting 6 out of 6. The essay should be cogent, well articulated, that means well formed, and it should demonstrate mastery of the elements of effective writing. Identify the important features of the argument, analyze them, develop the ideas cogently, organize logically, connect with clear transitions, support the main points, control the language, diction and syntactic variety. That means you don't have to use just one kind of sentence. The length of the sentences should vary, and there should be different types and syntaxes of the sentence, so that you can show that how much variety do you have in your written English. And you should follow the conventions of standard written English. That includes your punctuation and other grammar concepts. It may have minor flaws which can be ignored, but I wouldn't say that a lot of mistakes are still going to get you a score of 6 out of 6. Just minor, that means just 1 or 2. And here is the guide for a score of 5 out of 6. It should be well developed, good control of the elements of effective writing, identify the important features, analyze them in a thoughtful way. Again, develop the ideas clearly, organize them logically, connect with appropriate transitions. And it should be sensible, support the main points, demonstrate control of language, again variety and diction, conventions of standard written English and may have occasional flaws. Now, the target for you should be a score of 5 or 6. So you need to remember what all you need to do in your essay to get this score. So that's why I'm not giving you the score guide for a score of 4 out of 6, because your benchmark should be a score of 5 or more than 5. And here are the directions that you will see. It's very important to know the directions to each and every type of question and section beforehand, so that you don't have to waste time during the exam reading them again. So here are the directions. In this section, you will be asked to write a critique of the argument presented. You are not asked to present your own views on the subject. So remember, no external knowledge and no external examples. And take a few minutes to evaluate the argument and plan a response before you begin writing. Be sure to leave enough time to reread your response and make any revisions that you think are necessary. So these are the directions to your essay. Scores will reflect how well you organize, develop, and express your ideas about the argument presented. Provide relevant supporting reasons and examples. Control the elements of standard written English. And here is a basic format that you can follow. First paragraph will be for your introduction. It should be around 40 to 60 words. It can increase up to 80 words, but that would become too lengthy. But the essay won't be lengthy if you have a good typing speed. You need to balance between the number of words and the time of 20 minutes that you will have for typing. Now, in the introduction, you need to state the conclusion, the gist of the argument, and you need to state the main flaws and fallacies in brief. Then you have the first paragraph of your body, which will actually be the second paragraph of your essay. So it should be around 80 to 100 words in length. It should contain the first main point, and you should explain the reasoning behind that point or the supporting points. Then you will have the second body paragraph, which will actually be the third paragraph of your essay. Again, 80 to 100 words, explain the second main point and the reasoning. And then the third body paragraph, again 80 to 100 words, the third main point and the reasoning. Finally, there will be the conclusion, again 60 to 80 words. Conclusion should actually conclude everything that you've written. That's why it's called a conclusion. It should summarize whatever you have written, summarize the argument, and summarize the flaws that you have mentioned in the body paragraphs 1, 2, and 3. Also, a very important thing, suggestions to make the argument logically convincing. The different alternatives and the different suggestions. This is a very important point and you should not miss out on it. And here are some more tips. You should keep your language very clear. It should not be very difficult to read, because the reader will not have a lot of time to read your essay, just 2, 3, or 4 minutes to the maximum. So the language should be such that it should explain your points in a very clear and concise manner, right? So it should be very clear. The sentences should be concise. I'm not saying you should write only small sentences, but whatever you write in the sentences should effectively use the number of words. It should be an economical use of words. Don't waste words on writing a small sentence. Don't put extra words that are not needed. The ideas should flow logically, step by step. State the premise clearly at the beginning, that what are the fallacies that you find, and you need to state that the logic of the argument is not very sound, or you find that the premises that are supporting the argument are not valid, or the analysis will show that you need to disagree with the argument. So you need to state whatever premise you have in mind clearly at the beginning in the introduction. And your conclusion should be very strong. It should sum up the entire essay. It should contain the suggestions. It should contain what the argument was saying, and again a brief idea and a brief description of the different flaws of the argument, the different loopholes in the reasoning of the argument. It should be a very strong, concrete conclusion of around 60 to 80 words. And in case you have any doubts, you can contact us. And here are our phone numbers, and you can even email us at education@wisdomimmigration.com. In the next video, we will be discussing in detail how to attempt the AWA and the different types of questions. Now you will be getting a PDF as well along with these videos, and the PDF will contain many topics for you to write. So whenever you attempt an essay at your place, you can always email a copy of that to education@wisdomimmigration.com, and we will evaluate that essay and send it back to you so that you can improve upon it daily or even weekly as you wish. So that is all for now. Thank you.